Welcome back everyone, it's Aric from Rare Candy, and today we're going to be checking out the new Fusion Arts cards. These cards just got revealed for the first time over the weekend and kind of out of nowhere as well. I really was not expecting to see a brand new card type get revealed like this out of nowhere. Like, I think we knew that there was a Fusion Arts trademark, but I don't think there was any other info beyond that, if I remember correctly. But this is going to be a new set coming out in Japan September 24th with over 100 new cards. So that means more than likely these will make it into our fall set. So it will still be several months before we get to mess around with these. But we still have a few that got revealed today. And this is basically just going to be kind of like our third battle style, kind of in the same way we had with ancient traits. We had two initially, then a couple sets later they introduced the Delta Evolution ancient trait. Kind of the same thing. We have these single strike and rapid strike cards, and now we have the Fusion Arts cards with their own sort of toolbox of tricks exclusive to this sort of battle style as well. So again, not too many cards to go over today, but I think these are actually pretty good and very interesting, if nothing else. And before we check out these cards, if you guys can, remember to crush that like button, help us beat my mortal enemy, the YouTube algorithm. And at the end of this video, comment down below. I want to know which of these new Fusion Art cards you guys are going to be looking forward to the most. But let's hop in and see what we have today. Okay, so we have a Mew V and Mew VMAX here. Mew V, the attack, or the first attack here is okay. You search your deck for one energy, attach it to one of your fusion Pokemon. So not a horrible attack to lead the game with. I really do like that both of these do have free retreat. That is nice. Mew VMAX, of course, it's going to be a little bit more interesting. For 2 colorless energy, choose an attack on one of your bench fusion Pokemon and use it as this attack. And also 2 psychic energy, 130. Damage from this attack is not affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So Mew V is definitely interesting, and it's a card I really don't have like a really firm opinion on just yet. This is definitely a type of card I would like to see the rest of the Fusion Arts set before really, hyping this card up super hard, because it's kind of good, or only as good as the quality of fusion Pokemon out there for you to copy the attacks of. So I think ideally this would be a good attack for, like, if we get some VMAXs or Pokemon V, whatever it might be, really, that might have some 3 and 4 energy attack costs. Being able to use those with just a 2 energy attack, much better. Colorless is also good. We can power this up with Melanie, or of course the new Fusion Energy. We do have a new trainer card in this set that is going to be coming out, and actually in these cards today that we're taking a look at, that can accelerate energy. So Mew is actually, I think, a pretty easily powered up Pokemon here. And of course we have good old-fashioned Shadow Rider Calyrex as well, though I think that does sort of conflict with the general style of deck you would like to build around when it comes to Mew. But this definitely could be a good card. I just want to see the rest of these fusion cards before kind of pointing out. But the good thing about the second attack, it does go through things like Decidueye, Zamazenta V, etc. So that is worth pointing out there. Hoopa V here is actually, I think, a pretty decent card as well. 220 HP basic Pokemon, has a good ability. It's both psychic and dark type. I think both those types are really good in the game right now. I know we have not yet officially started the new post-rotation format, but I think in the early days, both these types could be pretty impactful. There's definitely sort of a rock, paper, scissors effect going on when it comes to Rapid Strike Urshifu, Eternatus, and Shadow Rider Calyrex. Of course, Hoopa can hit 2 of those VMAXs for weakness, which is really good. 170 on its own doesn't seem like a whole lot, but again, when thinking about in the context of going against these other popular VMAX Pokemon, this is a great number to hit for, because we can one-shot basically anything that our opponent has. So yeah, 2 dark and a colorless is slightly annoying, but we do have a new supporter card, like I already mentioned, to help get this powered up. And if we do want to attack with Mew instead, even though that does sort of forego the dark typing benefit we have from Hoopa, you can use the attack for 2 energy. Now we have Genesect V, which I think is, the crown jewel of these cards that are getting revealed today. Genesect V is an absolute insane card. I'm actually really surprised they even printed this ability, to be honest. So it's of course a basic Pokemon, 190 HP, a little bit on the weaker side, but this ability, once during your turn, you may draw cards from your deck until the number of cards in your hand equals the number of fusion Pokemon you have in play. So this is like a Crobat V that you can use every single turn and use multiple times if you have multiple Genesect V in play. I really thought something like this would have been printed on a stage 1, because if you look in the past, cards like Octillery or Claydol of the past, these very popular, decent, strong support Pokemon with these styles of abilities, have usually been stage 1s. You know, things like Crobat are kind of kept in check with the fact that it's a coming into play ability. Same thing with stuff like the Den AGX, Shaman EX of the past, etc. But this, I just can't get over how good this ability is. This is very, very good. The attack is also pretty good as well. 210. This Pokemon can't attack during your next turn, but hey, we have Metal Saucer, and we have a new trainer card that can buff our fusion Pokemon's damage by 30. So this 2 shots VMAXs, 1 shots, 2 prize Pokemon V. Yeah, this is... Do I want to say this is better than Zacian? I mean, I know this is definitely a little bit more limited. You have to be playing a fusion heavy deck, whereas Zacian is a little bit more flexible. We've seen a lot of different styles of decks use Zacian V. But yeah, Genesect and the decks that it can make use of it might even be a little bit better than something like Zacian V. So this is a very, very good card. Genesect, I think, is my favorite card out of the ones that we have today. We have Oricorio with its Fervent Lesson ability. As long as this Pokemon is in play, your fusion Pokemon take 20 less damage from your opponent's attacks, but you can't apply more than 1 of these per turn. And then it's only attack for Fire Colorless, 5 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way that you like. So I don't think this attack is too great, but the ability might make this card see some play. It really just depends on what are the numbers that popular decks are hitting for. If the 20 is going to change a 1-shot to a 2-shot, we might play Oricorio. If not, this card will probably be bulk, but it is nice that we do at least have this sort of defensive option at our disposal. So we have kind of a fun evolution line here. We have Clamperl that can evolve into Huntail or Gorbis. Both these have kind of unique abilities, which I do think is kind of nice. I don't know how competitive they are, but thematically, I enjoy how they made these cards. So Huntail has an ability that kind of is hateful against single strike Pokemon. Your opponent's single strike Pokemon require 1 more energy to use their attacks, and this does stack, but I don't think single strike Pokemon are like nearly popular enough to warrant this sort of hard teching card for them. And the other issue too is single strike decks have Houndoom usually to accelerate energy, so I think this is pretty weak. So I think Gorbis is probably a little bit better out of the 2 of these. So Gorbis is a stage 1, of course, too, and this one says as long as this Pokemon is in play, your opponent's Rapid Strike Pokemon have no abilities. Of course, we do have Rayquaza VMAX on the horizon in the very short term, so this will stop Rayquaza, that's good. Also will stop Inteleon. So, you know, there are some Pokemon we still might want to block against with this. I mean, it's still the type of card you need at least a 1/1 line for. Not sure if it'll see play, but I think this is the more promising out of the 2 Clamperl evolutions that we looked at. All right, next up we have a Toxtricity line with what looks like Toxel doing his best Emperor Palpatine impression. But we also have a Toxtricity, a little bit more importantly though. Toxtricity has this ability. This ability only works if all of your Pokemon play are fusion Pokemon, and as long as that's the case, the HP of your opponent's VMAX Pokemon is 30 less. And this does stack, which is important to point out. So I think 30 reduction isn't too impactful most of the time, but I actually do think a 60 reduction is, because if they have 320 HP, 60 reduction is going to put them down to 260. And I think a lot of times, a lot of the popular VMAX Pokemon can hit around the 270 mark. So this might wind up being kind of decent, but the issue is you do have to dedicate at least, I think, a 2/2 line for this ability to be good. So that's the issue. So if we do get a very low, low maintenance sort of fusion Pokemon to attack with, we could fill our deck up maybe with some Genesects and Toxtricities to make our math work out, or even just Toxtricity and Genesect with the new item card that buffs your damage. That could actually get you hitting the numbers you might want. I don't know. Card seems neat, but I'm not too sold on this guy. All right, next up we have a Dragapult evolution line. Okay. So I do like Dragapult as a Pokemon, and this guy is actually pretty good. So Psychic Pokemon, that's already a really good type to beat right now in the game. Zero Retreat is also good. But this first attack, I really do like this. 1 Psychic Energy, 30 times the amount of Fusion Pokemon you have in play. So if we do have our full bench of just Fusion Pokemon, we're going to be hitting for 180 for 1 energy. That's really good. That 2 shots essentially all of the VMAXs in the game, and 1 shots other stuff like Rapid Strike Urshifu in the process. So I actually think this is a pretty solid little attack. And the Fusion Pokemon restriction, I don't think is even an issue, because we can just put a couple of Genesects in our deck to help get our Dragapult set up. I mean, I know that does sort of go against the fact that this is a 1 prizer, but I mean, I still think that seems kind of okay. 1 prize decks before have played things like the Denny and Oricorio, so I don't know, maybe Dragapult will be a pretty good stage 2. I'm definitely going to mess around with this card. Absolutely. Think it has potential. We have a Meloetta. Let's see, 70 times the amount of fusion energy attached to your Pokemon. Not too great. I know we do have a new supporter card that can accelerate fusion energies, but I mean, more than likely, we're only going to be hitting for 140, maybe like 170 once you factor in the new item card that buffs our damage. But I don't think this is too great, because right now we also don't have a way at recycling fusion energy either. So yeah, this seems pretty weak. So up next we have what I think is probably one of the most gorgeous Smeargle cards we've ever had. This thing looks so good. I'm not even the biggest Smeargle fan, but I just love the whole color scheme they have going on here for this Smeargle. But it does have one attack that I think is worth highlighting. For 1 colorless energy, choose up to 2 fusion trainer cards from your discard, show them, put them into your hand. So it's kind of like the old Junk Hunt Sableye, but for fusion cards, which that might be good depending on the fusion trainer cards we get. Smeargle might be a card we have to kind of take seriously. So a card to sort of keep in the back of our mind. So getting into the fusion trainer cards that we have, I think all of these actually are pretty good. So for this one here, it says choose up to 2 of your fusion Pokemon in play. For each Pokemon you choose, search your deck for a fusion energy and attach it to that Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So I think a lot of times these styles of cards kind of wind up being a little bit hit or miss. Like think of something like Bead that we have in the format right now. Probably not the strongest card. It takes up your supporter for turn. But I like a card like this much better, because we are accelerating not only multiple energy, but we're getting those energy out of deck, and Fusion Pokemon have Genesect V. So we have a great way at still drawing cards for turn to supplement the fact that we're not playing a draw supporter. So I think this card actually does have a chance to see play because of Genesect. If we didn't have Genesect, I don't think this card would be quite as impressive. But yeah, this is solid, absolutely. We have Chili, Cyan, and Cress. Search your deck for up to 3 fusion Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand. Again, another card that is kind of made better because of the existence of Genesect. We can actually grab Genesect as one of our fusion Pokemon and use that to refill our hand size to make up for the fact that we are playing sort of a slower search supporter like this. Another thing too is this does not specify basic Pokemon, so we can even play this theoretically in our Dragapult deck if we want to grab our evolutions. So this is a really solid card. I really like this a lot. Again, partially because we have something like Genesect to supplement our draw power a little bit more. And now we have kind of like the, I don't want to say the heavy hitter, but I think debatably the most impactful of these new fusion cards. That's going to be Power Tablet, which has some amazing artwork. Just want to give a huge artwork appreciation for all the cards we've looked at today. This thing looks absolutely hilarious for considering how good and strong of a card it is. But yeah, during our turn, our fusion Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to our opponent. This is basically just like Electro Power, meaning that it stacks. So if we play 4 Power Tablets in a turn, we can actually do plus 120 with our fusion Pokemon, which is insane. So yeah, I mean, Single Strike was already the battle style that was kind of the more aggro of the 2 that we previously had. So it's kind of weird that we're getting this, and now Single Strike might be debatably the weaker of the types. Well, I guess you can recycle Single Strike energy. You can't recycle these. as easily. So maybe Single Strike is still the more aggro one. But yeah, this makes us have to take seriously basically any fusion card that gets printed that is somewhat easy to get powered up. So yeah, this card is absolutely bonkers, insane. And then we have Fusion Energy to round out the cards we're looking at today, guys. You probably saw this card coming from a mile away. Though it isn't really in the same vein as Single Strike Energy or Rapid Strike Energy, it's a little bit closer to Impact Energy or Spiral Energy. But of course, we can only attach it to Fusion Pokemon. It provides every type of energy, and it prevents our opponent's abilities from affecting the Pokemon it's attached to. So that is really, really solid. So that, of course, if they're playing stuff like Galarian Zigzagoon or a Liepard V, just as a couple of easy examples, this will prevent against that, which is pretty solid. I definitely think that's a little bit better than preventing against status conditions with the other battle styles energies that we have right now. But yeah, that is going to be the cards we're checking out today, guys. I know it's only kind of a small little segment of this set, but most of these are pretty high impact. As you can probably tell, Genesect V is definitely going to be my favorite of the cards that we looked at today, but I actually kind of have a little soft spot for Dragapult as well. I think this is a pretty solid little stage 2 that we have, and all of the trainer cards in conjunction with Fusion Energy, of course, also make these cards a little bit better too. But yeah, those are going to be some of my early thoughts. I'm really excited to see what else comes out in this set. And we'll have to see if Rapid Strike Pokemon still wind up being sort of the top dog as far as the battle styles cards go. Fusions are definitely looking very promising right now. Very curious to see where they are going to land. But I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be the new best battle style after it gets released? And also, what is your favorite card that we looked at today? I know mine's Genesect, but let me know your favorites down below in the comment section as well. But that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. Of course, if you did enjoy this early look at these cards, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. That way you'll stay up to date whenever my next video drops. And if you want to take your support to the next level, you can also become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or pick up some merch over at rarecandytcg.com. It would mean a lot. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.